Give me a second to get set up here. Gotta do the adjusting. Okay. Sorry about that delay. Gotta get a little set up. I just came back from the store. So I'm just in my motorcycle stuff. I apologize. Okay, so I had one of the viewers on YouTube. He, nice guy from Germany, he was asking questions about push hands. Oh, I should put the lights on, I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Is that better? I need one more light. All right, sorry about that, guys. Well, let's give people time to come in. Let's see how good YouTube notifications are. Okay, guys, how you guys doing? So we had a guy today, I'm sorry I forgot his name, he was from Germany, he was asking some push hands questions, and he had mentioned in his comment that he wasn't, and I'm not sure if he translated correctly or not, but he wasn't sure of the difference between Liu and An and how to explain it. That's what I got from the translation. And I noticed that, like everything in Tai Chi, there's very few, little consensus about what the right way is, and many people will teach things wrong, and then, like I always say, I don't believe any of us can be 100% correct, because Tai Chi is so small, it becomes too big, and every one of us is doing a subdivision, subsect interpretation of what the principles are. So while I may be very strict and what's the word, critical of many people, I'm also probably the most open-minded in the Tai Chi community, because on one hand, I don't tolerate bullshit, but on the other hand, I'm very open to everything, which is a very Taoist way to look at the world, isn't it? Excuse me, I just came back from the motorcycle, so it's hot, so this is how I dress. Okay, so I want to give you guys my interpretation of the the 8 energies and how I look at them, and what I've gathered over the years. Because I think most of what I look at it is very generic, but there's some elements that I think are from my perspective that I think are more correct. But we'll go over it. Okay. So everybody knows Penglu Jian Cai Lai Dou Ka, right? So these the 4 cardinal energies in the 4 corners, right? Let's go over the first basic fundamental concept of what Tai Chi is that, the Tai Chi says the symbol is the binary matrix, the key to the matrix. When you should do meditation where you actually stare at that symbol, okay, and really meditate on it. I know that sounds bizarre, but you need to sit there and just stare at it and let what happens come. It's the same concept as people understand real occult Buddhism, right? We don't worship the Buddha in the statue. We use that statue as an attunement factor to focus your intent. The same as if you have a picture of your grandmother on the altar, and it just helps you focus your mind to remember them. Okay? When you look at that symbol, you need to spend time and actually understand and understand what it means. On the fundamental level, we're talking about a binary system. Okay? So everything is binary, the 0 and a 1. And this is how I, 10 years ago came up with the fact that, my system of Tai Chi is only Peng An. And in the most recent times, I've confirmed that it's only An. Because, from the 1 comes the 2, from the 2 comes the 3, from the 3 comes all things. So An, the compression down automatically creates the return force. So in my world, there is only An. And then everything else is a result of the sinking of the chi. This is just my opinion, right? Because you have the 1, which is the conscious force, and then you have the response force, which is the compression refraction. If you take the Chi Chi symbol and you turn it sideways, you're going to have a sine wave. So let me grab some paper and a pen, because it might be better if I start drawing some cheesy diagrams for you guys. Okay? So I'm just going to draw a really cheesy Tai Chi symbol. Actually, I have it on my keys. I don't have to draw this thing. Give me a second. This is even better. So I have the coolest keychain in the world. So this is my my keychain, right? So you see this Tai Chi symbol, obviously. If you look in the middle, we turn it this way, so so not get distracted by that right now. Notice how there's this wave in the middle? There's your sine wave, right? So that sine wave thingy is very, very important. Okay, that's your binary sequence. Okay, you have compression and a refraction. So compression leads to refraction. Okay. Now, the problem with the Tai Chi symbol is that it's not two-dimensional, it's three-dimensional. So when you guys think the Tai Chi symbol only goes this way, it actually goes this way. This is how the Tai Chi actually works in reality. Okay? So the symbol should be thought of as a three-dimensional construct, where you separate this piece and you flip 190 degrees. And then what you'll notice is that as they're spinning, the dot would spin into this hole, and this dot would spin into this hole, and they'd be rotating into each other consistently. I don't know if you could see that in your mind. So that's how I look at the Tai Chi. Okay? This symbol, to me, is a three-dimensional object. Obviously, we think about it in two-dimensional construct, but you have to start to think and open your box and separate this in your mind and start to see it doing the three-dimensional thing. Okay? So why is this important, and why am I bringing this in? Because if you want to understand my concept of Peng Lu Jian, it all comes down to this. You have circles being driven by a linear pulse, and linear being driven by a circular pulse. And you're like, what the hell does that mean? Okay, it's a binary system, right? Peng Lu Jian are all circles. Okay, and we're going to go over that. First, let's divide the circle into 4 components. Okay, so I need to draw this. Let me just show it to you in my hands. Okay, if we just have the whole circle, the whole sphere, right? We take that piece out like I showed you. So now we have one rotating vertical and one rotating horizontal. So Peng is the half circle coming upward. Okay, so inside my stomach, my whole body, everything is doing this circle up from the ground up. Here's my half circle. Okay, I can go all the way up to here if I wanted to. Here's my Peng energy. Okay, let's just say it's a quarter circle. We're gonna do it here. Okay, Liu is when I take the side and turn it to the horizontal line, and now it's going to be a half circle this way. Okay, Ji is when I come with 2 of the half circles back away from me and squeeze them together and intersect. And when these 2 circles collide, right, these 2 circles hit each other and result in force, a linear force. Anytime something is released from a circle, the energy is linear. Okay, so that's your Ji. An is the other side of the broken Tai Chi symbol coming from the top down. Okay, so if we pull these pieces again together, you get what I'm saying. Here's our Peng circle going up. Then we have Liu and Ji coming this way. Okay, and then we have An going this way. So this circle's doing this. This circle's doing this. Okay, and they're broken in half. So now what I mean by is a circle being driven by a linear force. Since a circle is being generated on the outside of the body, so here's my Peng, here's my Liu, here's Ji, which is basically circle, circle, okay, or two arcs coming together to collide, and then we have An, which is coming back and down, okay? But how do I use that if I'm stuck? So I have to propel that. So what do? I propel that with a linear projection. Okay? So it's a circle being propelled by a linear force. When we look at the 4 corner energies, the 4 corners, and I've never seen anyone else mention this, the 4 corners are linear forces being projected or driven by a circular, right? A circular power. Huh? Okay. Thailand joke out, right? What is it? They're all straight lines. Okay? Thai is a pluck. When you pluck something, how it's taught is if you're plucking a fruit from a tree, or you're plucking a flower. You know, I'm going to pluck it off. I'm going to grab it, I'm going to pull it back. It's a linear power. But how do I drive it? I drive it over the circular axis. There, it's just split in 2, right? Splitting in 2 is what? My arc creates an arc, but the power is linear. Okay? If I do there, any kind of split, this force is a straight line. Right? Bump, ka, or rend, or jia, these are all linear impulses. You see what I'm saying? I don't circle my shoulder. No, I bump him. Right? I elbow him. Linear force. So somehow this is, I don't see anybody talk about this. So we have the primary circle being propelled by the line, and we have the lines being propelled by the circle. Okay? So this is, in my opinion, the easiest way to understand the concepts correctly. Now, again, with most things in Taiji, it's debatable because there's no consensus. There's no consensus on the name. People are still arguing about the name of the style. Okay? And I'm still waiting for anyone, to give me, a clear definition that, because, I can't read Chinese. I go speaking Cantonese and stuff like that, but, I tried to learn to read and write. I haven't used it in so many years. I don't remember anything. So power is expressed linear, but moves circular. That's a tricky one. Okay, let's remove Tai Chi for a second. Whenever you have an arc, when the power is released, it will always be linear, and it will only become curvilinear due to atmospheric resistance. So if I'm going to throw a baseball, right, I pick up the ball, and what do? I use an arc, and here's my class 3 lever, big circle, right? Or some kind of arc, right? There's some kind of circular arc, but that ball comes out straight. The only reason the ball becomes curvilinear, which is like this little archy thing, is because of the atmosphere, buoyancy force, gravity, things of that nature. So generally in physics, yes, circular forces become linear, okay? And a linear force will become circular due to atmospheric variation. In the Taiji classics, it's expressed by saying to make the round straight and the straight round. Now going into the power like I just described, bringing it back to Tai Chi, when we are using the 4 cardinal energies, when the outward expression is the circle, we must propel it on a line. So if I wanted to use ward off, I can't use ward off and circle here and be circling here. It's too much. You wind up getting thrown off. And I can't focus my power. I need to balance the yin side and the yang side. If there's a circle, there must be a line to balance it. If there's a line, there must be a circle to balance it. This is fundamental Tai Chi theory. So when I want to use Peng, my step is linear, but my rotation is circular, but my power output is linear. If I want to use Le or split, right, I would step circularly, because you see that the step is more of a circle. I put power out in a line, but when that person affects the power, he's probably going to circle out and fall to the side in a rotation. So this is the balance of the yin-yang again. Does that make sense? Was that? I'm here to answer the question, so let me know if it makes sense. If it doesn't, we'll go over it, because maybe 100 people after you are going to get this. Okay, very good. So that was really the premise, is understanding this balancing act between, because we can't, if I go into too many details, there's so many different ways to do the 8 energies that we can't argue this is the correct ward off and this is the correct, because there's so many different manifestations or expressions of the principle that as long as it's within universal body mechanic, closed kinetic chains, structure is correct, there's nothing out of balance, timings are correct. I can't say this is right and this is wrong. There's some things I can say 100% are wrong. Okay? You can see there's some people who are just doing it wrong. Their body mechanics are completely off. They have the bad intention, their mind is scattered. You see them just weak, just weird things. It's obviously wrong. But when people have the basic principle, it's very difficult for me to say, oh, that's right, that's wrong. It's just an expression of the principle. Exactly. Language is tricky as we try to understand the Eastern mystic martial religion from a Western physics. Exactly. And the point is, my understanding how I looked at it from the very beginning, I was lucky because from a young age I was taught how to understand some occult things. So when I was reading the classics and reading into this stuff, I always looked at it in this way that it was a metaphor for physics. They didn't understand, Newtonian physics, but they understood it inherently, like they just knew. So how do they get to describe it? They call it the Ming Men, we call it the sacrum. They call it the jade pillow, we call it the occipital protuberance. You know what I'm saying? They call it the dantian, we call it the small intestine. You know what I mean? So it's not that it shouldn't be as much of a problem as it is. The problem is that the people who are guarding this information are doing it because they're narcissistic scumbags, or they're just weak-minded, and their entire false persona, comes from them hiding information from their students and people to seem like they're superior to them. So they use these words. I'm not saying everyone does. Some people use the words because they want to follow tradition, or that's how they were taught. But for the most part, they don't do enough to bring it down into general language that everybody can accept and understand. You understand? But it really shouldn't be that difficult. It's just basic physics, and I think the problem is, on my Fajing Secrets of Plain English video, one guy had mentioned, so what do you mean? You're not sinking the chi, and you're not doing this other stuff? I'm like, if I tell you, okay, I want you to relax, find your structure, okay, make sure you're standing up nice and tall, feel this pressure and let it flow through your body to your feet. Is that not the same as sink the chi? All I did was paraphrase into American English. You see what I'm saying? I don't have to, I say, relax, bring your attention to, bring blah, blah, blah. I can say it a million different ways. Breathe in, follow your breath, go underneath your perineum, follow it up the small of your back, follow it up to the middle of your back, follow it up to the crown of your head. Okay, breathe in this way. I don't have to use Chinese terms. All it does is occlude it, make you sound like a pretentious idiot, okay, and make it much more difficult to learn because there's too much jargon. People need to be able to associate these concepts in a language they understand. Now, I understand there's a point of the study of being true to tradition, and that's fine. But what I'm saying is that why not just speak English and then allow them, as they're growing, to start to associate the old Chinese and say, oh, this is what this is. Knife hand block. Do I need to know Sudamaki in Korean? What the hell's the point? You see what I'm saying? Yapchatarigi. I need to know this Korean language for what? You see what I'm saying? It's asinine. You know what I mean? And it's pretentious for the most part. I get it for a traditional standpoint, but that's really my point on the matter. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's a very simple concept that can be broken down to simple terms. Okay, so I think that was really the point I was trying to make, is to get ready, because it shouldn't be of an issue. And I don't see enough of people breaking these things down into ways you understand that are universal to everyone. Okay, so even saying Pamuji Yantaleo, I don't want to use that. I don't even feel good using that. It's just I'm so used to it. It comes out. But I don't like it. I like saying ward off. And I really don't like saying rolling back, it's roll away. Because Tai Chi doesn't go backwards. So be warding off of me, rolling away, pressing together, you know what I mean? Blanket and reject. Blanket and freaking throw away. Because it's not a push, right? G is a push to me. An is more of a smother, blanket, squeeze, and compress. So that's another issue. Because a lot of the translations don't. Like, for instance, pung, after a while you should understand it. But ward off is still not even good. It should be like, block and uproot would be more of a description. Roll back would be like, deflect and draw to a corner. You know what I mean? The core problem is the Chinese language and TC mass is confused at martial arts and the religion, and so trying to deconstruct medieval theology and understand boxing. Yeah, that's a big problem. That's a big problem, and I've said this before. I don't think. I can't say it's wrong because again, Tai Chi is so small; it encompasses everything. See, Buddhism is the study of the spiritual matrix, and the after places and how you survive death. The point of Buddhism, the whole point of Buddhism, is to survive death. That is it. It's to survive death and not get reincarnated. That is the whole point of Buddhism. The Tao, and the Buddhism teaches you the mechanics of the astral plane and how you deal with those realms. Taoism, in its essence, is the physical matrix, how physical reality interacts with itself. So Taoism is the 3D matrix that the Buddhist 5D matrix sits on top of. And if you look at the Taoist like occult, like magic practices, they're very similar to the Buddhist deities. They just have their own little thing, you know? It's kind of a universal concept, but for us normal people, it's generally like Taoism is the physical attribute, Buddhism is the spiritual attribute. So I can understand the crossover, but again, as you said, Tai Chi is a martial art first. The Tai Chi is a martial art, and it should be taught that way strictly. You know what I mean? And there's other people, and I want to say this clearly. What I mean by that is, there's channels who teach Tai Chi for health, and there's a few that I've been commented I think are really good. Like I want to say her name wrong. The Aping Tai Chi girl. You don't have to be a fighter to have good mechanics. The body mechanics that teachers like her and other like health teachers and more of the soft people teach. If you look at the internal mechanics, if I just made her really angry and started hitting things, it'd be very easy to take her from Tai Chi health to Tai Chi fighting. When you look at a lot of these online certificate people and their fake Tai Chi shit, there's no hope for them. And they have no chi either. Because without the proper fighting internal mechanics, even if you're not a fighter, you cannot get the body to elicit those responses. You're not going to get the chi, you're not going to get the lymphatic drainage, you're not going to get any of this stuff because your body's not in the right position. So I hope that makes sense. But you're 100% correct on this. But I'm not going to say it's wrong for them to add, it's not really my place to say if it's wrong, you know what I mean? But I will say that it's a hindrance in modern times with modern mentalities, with instant gratification, with no one wants to spend 10 years. Truthfully, Tai Chi shouldn't take you more than 2 years to learn. It should not take you more than 2 years to learn and be able to fight. I mean, at least be able to fight, that you don't look like, and get smacked in the face. You should be able to do something, okay? Within 2 years, I don't care what style it is. You should be able to do something, okay? You should be able to fight your way out of a wet paper bag without instructions. So that's the problem, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying everybody needs to be fighters, but if you're doing it for health, you have to respect the concept that it is a martial art, and for you to emulate, to elicit the health benefit response, you need to at least emulate the body mechanics of the martial art. That is the point. That is the point. So that was what I would. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it, guys. But yes, that's the deal. How long have I been on here? I wanted to make this a concise stream so people can reference this. You have any other questions? I'm thinking if I should anything else should go over a demo. But I think that was a really clear explanation, So that's what I got. But if you or anybody else watching has any questions, let me know. I'm thinking if there's anything else I should really demo on the subject. But no, that's basically it. So I'm gonna sign off. I hope this is helpful for everybody. Please join the Discord, like, share, subscribe. It's 2023, guys. I shouldn't have to tell you this. You guys know how the system works. You know how they don't want us to succeed. Okay? You've seen I've been on this channel for 8 years. No, I think this channel's been around for 10 years. Okay? 10 years, and they completely repressed all my videos. There's all these famous guys that came way after me. Okay? There's so many. I don't understand how people are just figuring out I'm here now. So, help out, let's work together to clean up the Tai Chi world. I'll be doing group classes, private classes, and a couple of free classes once a month in Discord. Cash App for donations, sign up for Cash App, that'll be great. And I'll try to get my PayPal open again, but I don't know what the hell's going on with these people. Everyone's messing with me. Alright, so if I come up with any good ideas, I'll be back. See you guys soon. Peace out.